Hello and welcome. My name is John Hobby and welcome to Moneycards. Today we are talking and kicking off the new year with a new series called Moneycards. All right. Now, the focus of this series is not about chips, it's about face cards. You've seen my great poker chip adventure, hopefully. There will be much more poker chip videos coming to this channel. Please subscribe. But today we're talking about face cards. Now, as far as face cards go, what would you say is the #1 recommended Hobbyphilic John Hobby accessory for your face cards? Now, somebody's going to say poker chips, and that's close. You need poker chips. I support that, but it's not really an accessory to face cards. It might actually be the other way around. My #1 recommended accessory are cut cards. Yay. And remember, there is an up and a down. The matte side faces up, not the glossy side. You don't want to accidentally reflect a card. Somebody will play that to their advantage. Don't do it. All right. So we're going to play a hand here. You guys know the routine, hopefully. At home, everybody, take your decks, shuffle them, grab 2 cards off the top. We're going to play a quick Texas Hold'em hand here. I'm just going to do a little weave shuffle here, box weave shuffle. Nothing, no rocket science here. I'm not going to go into a full dealer routine. You guys have seen them, I'm sure, many of you, poker tables around the world. Lots of this tapping, flipping your hands like this, doing all sorts of things before you, before you play anything. All right, so I assume everybody's ready. Oh, cut card, you see on the bottom right there? There you go. Poker size face cards, poker size cut cards. You're not going to reveal anything. So we're going to burn a card, and let's see if we can get it underneath that. Let's see how we flop. Oh dear, somebody's already excited. I can tell right now. Oh my gosh, I'm drawing to a royal flush. Raise, raise, raise. All right, well, keep it coming. Let's see what happens here. Oh, all right, that's a very straighty board all of a sudden. And finally, oh, it's a flushy board too. Look at all the straight possibilities in the flush. It's exciting. Tell us what you have in the comments below. It's always fun to do that. Gosh, it's just exciting. Poker is such an exciting game. All right. So, how did the system work out for you? Everybody understood those cards that were drawn? There's no confusion there about that being a jack? No confusion about that being a 10. The suits are all pretty clear. This is a chem set of face cards, all right? Now, I want to introduce this series real quickly with a couple of thoughts. #1, I'm not somebody who's going to put people down, all right? There's always this macho attitude of, I see your Schwartz is as long as mine kind of, mentality out in the internet. Did I sound like Sean Connery? Did I accidentally mimic Sean Connery in Spaceballs? Sean Connery and Rick Moranis in Spaceballs. I don't know. I don't know why it came out like that. Scottish accent here. So, I'm not going to try to one-up people. Oh, look at me, I play with Chem. Oh, look at me, I have Paulsons. What kind of crappy chips are you playing with? That's not my style. I don't put people down. In fact, if you watch my great poker chip adventure, I'm actually, in that series looking for, very specifically, an affordable stock U.S. poker chip that's available to the masses, all right? I'm not just, trying to put everybody down. And I'm going to maintain that through here, okay? There's not going to be any sort of elitism, like you need these cards to, ever be a respectable host, or a poker dealer or whatever. That's just not reality, all right? Now, there are lots of things to consider, and I'm going to roll some things in front of the camera. The point of this series is to give you guys, the viewer, some ideas, all right? Give you guys the power to the people, right? And you can watch all the decks that I'm going to roll through here, all my ideas that I roll through here, and at some point, something's going to jump out to you where you're going to be like, whoa, what's that? How come, why does that appeal to me so much? And you're going to want to go buy it. You may be the only person in the world that's super interested in that deck, all right? Chem cards are some of my favorite because they're so buttery smooth. They're some of the most flexible cards that I have ever measured when it comes to face cards. And they are plastic, 100% acetate, and if you look in the FDA website, cellulose acetate is actually approved for food storage. It's pretty, not necessarily approved, but they say it's non-hazardous, all right? So it's not banned, there's no warnings or anything, it's just a fine substance. So I really like chem cards, and actually I have quite a bit of history with chem cards. Maybe we'll talk about that here in a minute. So see this series as a continuing series, and it's going to be what I call fluid, meaning unlike the Great Poker Chip Adventure, where I was like, well, I'm going to review, here, I don't know what I have here. I'm going to review these chips, okay, Nevada Jack. I'm going to review these and make a standalone video just about those chips. And then I'm going to review Paulson, just make a standalone video about Paulson, right? Hopefully Paulson comes back with some more chips. That's a different video. So, and they were each standalone, and it was a series of standalone reviews. That's not what's going to happen here. I may make an episode where I focus on one deck over another deck, but generally speaking, it's going to be discussion about, like, this is the introductory episode. Then we're going to talk about maybe paper cards, paper, then plastic, and decision making, and various other things. And we're going to progress through the whole face cards world in a series of videos that hopefully will be more pleasant to watch as a series, all right? So let's put these chem face cards away. Let's grab something different. Here are the jokers, by the way, with the chem face cards. A little bit more washed out than some of the older ones. You may see that here in the future, so put those away. Sorry, get these out of the way here. And speaking of not being elite, we're going to play with a shot deck from New York, New York, all right? Just going to shuffle real quick here, just for kicks and giggles, while I explain to you or talk to you more about some of my history and what I'm looking for in face cards, all right? So I was raised with a father who considered himself a card counter. So he was always going to Vegas, and he was always, trying to play blackjack and poker and roulette and various other things. He, trying these systems out, and he was never successful. That's, that's why I'm not sitting in a $100 million home somewhere on the beach. I'm here in front of the camera making videos, and working hard my whole life, And that's one of the reasons why I have a huge respect for gambling. Stay away from, investing your whole life and life earnings into it. If you have some entertainment money and you can, set that aside and you have control of yourself and you don't have a gaming problem, then yeah, all right, you can, you're all responsible adults. And if you're not a responsible adult, learn now. Okay, gambling is not recommended. If you look at my website, I recommend you donate money to charitable organizations or research organizations like the Huntsman Cancer Institute or something. Anyway, these cards, these New York cards, are not near as nice as those chem cards. Oh, look, well, instead of hearts, they have apples. Well, that's pretty cool. That's kind of gimmicky. Yeah, kind of. These feel very much like the Bicycle standard playing cards, the air cushion finish, plastic coated paper, okay? And, and one of the reasons why I'm bringing this up is, speaking of my dad, okay, we progressed through, I was raised on chem plastic face cards. And then when I hit college, I was like, I'm not going to buy those. I don't want to be like my dad. That's ridiculous. And so I'd move into these kind of decks because they were super cheap, the shot decks. But when I was in the 90s, I think they would drill holes in them and call them shot decks, casino floor used decks. And then now they just cut the corners off here. And so I progressed into something like this, or, just bicycle cards. Here's some bicycle jumbo cards. Red deck. I buy, tons of these. I have some unopened ones here. And then after these, let's see if I can put some kind of order here. After these, this kind of a thing, I'll put them right here. So after the paper series, I was kind of like, well, I want something a little bit nicer. I do miss kind of having that easy weave. And I progressed into kind of a PVC deck, right? 100% PVC, and I was like, yeah, these are pretty nice. And then I would go to my dad's house and play with his chem face cards and be like, arg, they're so buttery smooth. And so recently I've gone back to the chem sets of face cards, like the ones that we were just playing with. I love them. Love them. It's kind of, I can't do it justice, but they are buttery smooth, and I'm kind of reaching here to be in front of the camera, so it is kind of awkward, just the way I handle all the cards here. So, just understand that. So what I would expect from most of you out there is you're going to get bored. If you're watching this series, you're going to get bored at some point with the cards you use. You're playing with bicycle cards long enough, you'll be like, all right, I had enough of this. I want to move into something different. And one of the things that motivates a lot of people is once they get a nice set of chips, they'll get into a nice set of chips, a nice set of ceramics, and they'll be like, all right, chips are taken care of, now what's next? And they look for ways to improve their game, improve, their poker hosting abilities, and, they'll move into various other decks that make them happy. And, some of the ideas here, let's roll in some of these Copag cards here. Beautiful PVC cards here. Now, some people are sensitive to, you can see some of the design similarities and some differences. Now, with PVC, enters, you talk about another realm of things, which we're going to, touch on when we get to it. But, people are concerned about how toxic these things are. I mentioned FDA and cellulose acetate. What about PVC? Well, PVC kind of has some volatility properties, which if you work in a factory where you're exposed to huge amounts of it, it doesn't have the best track record. Does that make sense? So, it starts getting complicated and materials start mattering all of a sudden. Oh no, did I just shuffle the jokers and the instructions in? So if you played with this right now, you might actually get a how to play poker card. Let's see if they're in here. Yep, there's a joker. Different than the, yep, here it is. Copac cards, 100% PVC. So, some people avoid PVC like the plague. Some people have a 2-year-old. As for me, I don't mind. Okay, it's such a small part of my life. I'm not concerned about PVC in cards. However, like I said earlier, I want to give you guys ideas for face cards. Some of you may be like, not really interested in PVC. Others of you may be like, rock on. Inexpensive plastic cards that feel and shuffle, real smooth and, have a nice thickness to them. Great progression from paper into plastic. Anyway, so I would expect, all of you, many of you, to go through progressions where you're like, oh, I love these cards, love these cards, love these cards. You may find some that wear out quicker than others. And, that may affect your, purchasing decisions. Some of you may actually go with cards that wear out faster than others because you like them more than others and you're willing to replace them. So, it really is different for everybody. Now, some of the other cards that I'm really impressed with, and we'll get into this, Chem are my go-to cards, all right? That's, spoiler alert, that's just, my preferences, and I understand. I wouldn't recommend these to neophytes, people who are new to face cards, it actually gets into a long story here. But these Jamaico cards, these are beautiful, beautifully lovely cards that are well thought out. I'm talking about this particular set. I'm not going to go into every single Jamaico set out there, but this plastic set is just such a lovely, smooth, beautiful, bold set. I like it. It's not as buttery smooth. They're not as flexible as the Chem cards. They are very easy to read. I like the black boxes. There are lots of little preference things here that I have that are reflected here in these Jamaico cards. Everything from this incredible well, the Chem call them arrows, but, kind of this, star pattern right here, just lovely, lovely, well thought out, clean designs. Okay. Now, along with this progression of taste that, it's like food taste, it's like when I was growing up, I never liked spicy food. Now I love spicy food. And the same thing happens with, face cards. It's just change in taste. So enough about that. We're going to put some of these away. Anyway, these are something that I warmed up to and really like. There are some other cards too. These Del Negro, for example. I like these okay. One of my pals is left-handed, and interesting story. These are plastic cards, 100% PVC, okay, very similar to the Copag. And my friend is left-handed. Let me just show you these. My friend is left-handed, and he, played with these for a few hands, and then finally was like, oh my gosh, look, they put the suit and the index right here. Oh my gosh, they're lovely cards. And, plastic, he loved these cards. To me, not super fond of them. We'll talk more in depth about that whole experience in a future video. We're running out of time. Try to keep these videos to under 20 minutes. And Del Negro, Freedom, X Poker, plastic playing cards blue. New. All right. So other important things that I want to introduce cards with, okay? You've seen an array of cards here. Some beautiful. Oh, these Modiano are also beautiful cards. World Series of Poker. Complaints about the pips. We'll talk about that in a future video. Those made me like these cards even more because they have character, and I'm looking for that. I'm looking for character, that X factor, that emotional, bond with things that make them desirable. It's not like a measurable scientific thing. It's how much you love these cards. And I'm looking for a very particular set. I'm going to have to reach here. All right, I found them. Now, look at this, okay? These are warped terribly, okay? Listen. They're just terrible. Terribly warped. Now, these are Chem brand face cards, okay? Let's see if we can show you what's going on here. Okay, so you can see right here. Not sure if this is going to show up on camera, but this is the Victorian 1993 Chem. I think we got these in 94. And this was before I was driving, so I was, a young teenager. You can see the jokers right here. Look how rich those colors are. And we were on our way to one of the beaches. I forget which one. It was like Laguna Beach. I'm originally from Southern California, and we right now we live in Ohio, and it's a huge change. You never appreciate the weather, but again, that's a different video. And I threw this box in our little Toyota minivan, right? Was it me or someone? I'm pretty sure it was me. Maybe I'm guilty of this, but either way, they were left in the sun at the beach in the car and warped dramatically. My dad was furious. I remember him yelling at me, just being like, this was $8. That set was $8. There were 2 decks for, $4 a deck. That's really expensive, Dad. But at the time they were, right? In the 90s. That was pretty expensive back then. For these, here's some more bridge-sized cards. Something else I need to discuss. Okay, anyway, these are not the Chem plastic cellulose acetate cards, not recommended for travel. Don't make the same mistakes that John made, that I made, all right? I'm referring to myself in the third person. So, if you're going to travel, I recommend paper cards, less expensive paper cards. These bicycle ones are great. Stick with something like that. Leave them out in the sun. Doesn't matter, okay? If they're destroyed, who cares? Throw them away. I kind of keep this set around just as a reminder of that. One of these is also broken. Shortly after these were warped, one of our other cousins was chucking these like ninja stars and broke one of the tips off. You can see, there's just so much damage here. I'm not going to flip through all of these to find it. Maybe I'll roll in a picture, but either way, it's been taped together. And it's pretty obvious. Oh, it's right here. It's pretty obvious it's been broken. So, not sure if that's going to show up, but you can see the break right here. It's been scotch taped. All right. We're going to get these out of the way here. Where's some room? I've got so many cards that I'm dodging right here. Okay, so let me show you some other things. We need to discuss, the scope of this video. We're not going to do bridge-sized cards in this series. Okay, I may make another series about bridge-sized cards, or maybe I'll make one episode about bridge-sized cards, but all the comparisons I'm going to be making are for poker-sized cards. That's for a reason, okay? There are some companies that make only bridge-sized cards, almost exclusively, and it's a different kind of a market than the poker-sized cards. Now, my dad loves bridge-sized cards, and maybe it's just to spite him. I don't know, psychologically. But I'm going to kind of avoid the bridge-sized cards for the majority, the vast, vast majority of these videos in this series. So these are paper cards. Okay, I'm also going to avoid touristy cards. So you can see these are non-plastic coated paper cards, and you can see there's already tons of wear around the edges. They just wear out so quickly. We've hardly ever played with these. This is a touristy item, okay? Not going to talk about touristy items. I'm not going to review every single touristy item made. I'm not going to dedicate a lot of time or try to sell you on this Win limited edition gold souvenir set. It's not really a playable card. So I'm looking for playable poker size face cards available to the masses in the United States. Those are the general requirements of cards I'm going to roll in front of the camera. And, to give you these ideas of what you are looking for when you purchase a card, a deck of cards, okay? Like, for example, this Rhapsody set right here. Bicycle, readily available, and it represents a line of bicycle cards, you know, that where they sell and make all, you know, a huge variety of cards. They may not still have these, but if you go out to many stores or you go online to Amazon, you type bicycle cards, you'll see a huge array, or go to their bicycle website, the US Playing Card Company website, huge variety of playing cards that are pretty unique. All right, so we're going to dive into all of that. That's the purpose of this this series. I hope you guys enjoy. Please subscribe, and we'll be back with more fun and exciting poker tips and face cards. Thanks for watching.